Students, welcome in our today's session. Let's deal with the rest part of this essay. Uh, as you already know that we were discussing our essay of studies which is written by Francis Bacon, and now moving ahead, I'm reading for you. Here is the text. Okay, let's start the remaining part of this essay. Some books are to be tasted, others to be swallowed, and some few to be chewed and digested. So, students, in these lines, Francis Bacon explains that all kinds of books or reading material can be divided into three types. And what are these? He says that some books are to be tasted, others to be swallowed, and some few to be chewed and digested. He says that there are some kind of books which are to be read in parts here and there. So when he says some books are to be tasted, it means some books which are meant to be read in parts, not in full length. So there are others which are meant for rapid reading without much inquiry as to the details. When he says others to be swallowed, he means that they are meant to read for rapid reading, okay, that do not require much inquiry for greater details, and such books are meant to for general study. Such books are to be read in wholes but rapidly, okay. And what is the third kind of books, the category of books? He says some few to be chewed and digested. So thirdly, there are some important books, those require a must reading. These must be studied seriously and thoroughly. So every fact and every allusion must be consulted and fully mastered while reading these kind of books. So just as we chew and digest our food, in the same way we should think over the details of these books and understand them fully. We must understand each and every concept and the ideology, or every point in a way. Each detail, each point should be analyzed or should be understood in minute detail, with minute detail. So here he says these kind of books are meant to be intellectually digested. So the ideas of such books should be permanently impressed upon our memory. So only great books come under the third category books, about which here Bacon say that these books should become the reader's lifeblood also. Now moving ahead, that is, some books are to be read only in parts, others to be read but not curiously, and some few to be read wholly and with diligence and attention. Some books also may be read by deputy and extracts made of them by others, but that would be only in the less important arguments and the manner short of books. Else distilled books are like common distilled waters, fleshy things. So as I have already mentioned that these books, these three kinds of categories of books depend on the kind of matter they have. So there is a criteria for weightage of each kinds of books, so that we must keep in our mind. Now moving ahead, when he said reading make the full man, conference a ready man, and writing an exact man. So this is very very important lines or quotation, we can say, by Bacon, and this is often quoted line from Bacon's essay. And here Bacon actually explaining the relative merits of reading, conferring and writing. So when he says reading make the full man, conference a ready man, and writing an exact man, he says that extensive reading makes a man a thorough scholar. He becomes a full man, a thorough scholar. The exchange of views and discussions make us quick-witted. Conference a ready man means when he is capable, his ideas or views impressively, so he can able he is able to exchange his views in debate. So that kind of ability can make him a ready man, means a witty person. So he can exchange his ideas very quickly. He can communicate in them in better way. So practice in the expression of one's thoughts and feelings makes one accurate, precise. One who has studied the art of writing is more accurate in one's expression than others. So writing actually is much more important, or we can say superior ability, that makes a person an exact man. And therefore if a man writes little, he had need have a great memory. If he confers little, he had need have a person a present wit. And if he read little, he had need have much cunning to seem to know that he doth not. So here Bacon points out the importance of reading, conference and writing. He says that the studies of books makes a man learned and full of knowledge. Conference and discussions makes him quick-witted, that he can quickly answer all the questions, or he can easily impress the people by his witty remarks. Writing makes him accurate and precise. Bacon now here tells us how a man can make up his deficiency in reading, writing and discussion. He says that if a man is not in the habit of writing, he can make up his deficiency of writing by means of a good memory. So he must have a good memory if he wants to deficiency in his writing. If a man does not take an active part in discussion or debate, his deficiency can be made up by his gift of sharp intelligence and ready wit. So he must have a present wit. And if he read little, if a man does not read much, he can pull on if he is naturally gifted with cleverness, cunningness. He must be cunning. He can pose that he does not lack an intensive reading. So Bacon means to say here that those who are cunning, who have a good memory, who are ready-witted, can do well in the world even without deep studies. Bacon lacked moral earnestness here. His essays are full of worldly wisdom, irrespective of the fact whether the advice is based on morality or not. So that is something very much important fact we can notice here. And now moving ahead, histories makes men wise, poems witty, the mathematics subtle, natural philosophy deep, morals grave, logic rhetoric able to contend, abundant studia in mores. Nay, there is no stand or impediment in the wit, but may be wrought up by fit studies, like as disease of the body may have appropriate exercises. So now in the next part of this essay, Bacon actually here tells about the advantages of different branches of knowledge, different kinds of subjects or knowledge like history, poetry, mathematics, philosophy, etc. Very first he says here that the study of history, how the study of history can be benefit for the person of woman, what kind of advantages we get from the study of history. He says that histories make men wise, that history makes a man wise. When a man reads histories of different countries and people, he learns about their deeds and misdeeds, so he can be a wise person by reading history. And the study of poems or poetry makes a man witty by teaching him beautiful and apt expression, that he can observe the beautiful aspects of human nature and physical nature as well through artistic talent or through literary talent, like by reading poetry. So in this way poems can be helpful by making a man witty person. Now the mathematics, the study of mathematics actually develops the power of concentration in it. So the study of natural sciences makes our mind deep by acquainting us with the profound secrets of nature. Deep morals, grave logic and rhetoric. And so here ethics makes us serious minded and thoughtful. So the study of logic and rhetoric give us the powers of arguing, debating or arguing. Thus these various kinds of subjects or these various kinds of study of various subjects develop in us various abilities or capabilities. So they train our mind and heart in different ways and help to make us a complete and full man. So if when he says in the next lines, concluding part of this essay, Bacon says that but may be wrought out by fit studies like as disease of the body, may have appropriate exercises. Bowling is good for the stone and reins, shooting for the lungs and brace, gentle walking for the stomach, riding for the head, and the like. So if a man's wit be wandering, let him study the mathematics, for in demonstrations, if his wit be called away, never so little, he must begin again. If his wit be not apt to distinguish or find difference, let him study the schoolmen, for they are simile sectors. If he be not apt to beat over matters and to call up one thing to prove and illustrate another, let him study the lower cases, so every defect of the mind may have a special receipt. So in these lines, okay, Bacon is telling us how studies can remedy man's defects, man's follies. He tells us that almost every mental defects may be removed by a special kind of reading or special course of study. For example, he says that if a man is absent-minded, absent studia in mors ne, there is instant or impediment in the wit, but may be wrought out by fit studies, like a disease of the body may have appropriate exercises. So he says, if a man is absent-minded, if he is unable to fix his attention on a particular topic, he should study mathematics. So a man's wit be wandering, by this he means that this man should study mathematics. In solving a mathematical problem, he will have to concentrate all his attention carefully upon it. The least attention least inattention and carelessness will make the calculations wrong. So as a result, he will have to do the whole thing again. So he will soon learn the value of concentration. Gradually, he will form a habit of concentrating his attention whenever he is called upon to do a work. Thus, his absent-mindedness will be cured. If a man is not capable of perceiving differences in two or more objects, he should study the philosophers of the Middle Ages. So, when he says that if his wit be not apted to distinguish or find difference, let him study the schoolmen, for they are simply sectors. So he should study the philosophers of the Middle Ages. It was the humor of these philosophers to indulge into hair-splitting controversies or arguments on different kinds of points of ethics and metaphysics. So Bacon here recommends that those who cannot distinguish between two kinds of things or objects or between two ideas should study the theologians and philosophers of the Middle Ages. He says that their study develops one's power of penetration and distinction. The sharp penetration of these schoolmen, whom Bacon calls here sectors or hair splitter, is sure to develop the keenness of perception in the readers. So in this way, studies can serve different kinds of purpose in a man's life. So here Bacon actually tells that studies are of great importance. Studies are great use to us in our life. We should study books for proper guidance and instructions, and books and studies can be our best companions. They can help in every situation, and thus he has thrown a light on a very important topic of studies in a person's life. So he has also talked about different kinds of advantages of reading books and different kinds of branches of study or knowledge, and how their understanding can be helpful in a person's life. So I hope, students, you have understood the text of this essay. Now this is enough for today. Thank you.